Hello and welcome to WTF Leeds, the panel show where we talk football. We discuss everything that the footballing world has thrown our way over the past 7 days, the good, the bad and the beautiful game. My name is Billy Trusswell, hey, how you doing? And on today's show,
we take a look at transfer deadline day. While a quiet one for many, we talk about the signings and the impact of big money in football today. Diego Costa is in trouble yet again. I asked the panellists if his 3-match ban is enough, and does this incident pose more questions about discipline in the sports? And after yet another disappointing World Cup, the England team is under severe scrutiny. Is it time for the young guns, or have the current generation still got it in them to defy the odds?
So that's what we have to look forward to over this show, but first let me introduce our studio guests. We have guest pundits today, Dan McCarthy, Niamh Carr and Kyle Shields. So let's kick off with the first big story of the day. Now, transfer deadline day. It, of course, came to an end last night, and it probably wasn't the most enthralling of deadline days, was it?
No, it was quite underwhelming. I think what summed it up best was the fact that Michael Ton's loan move from Leeds to Millwall was a trending topic on Twitter.
It was, I did see that. Kyle, what did you make of the deadline?
Worst transfer window ever, capped off by the worst deadline day ever, I think. It ended with, I think, a defender going from Bolton to United on loan, and Plymouth Argyle were really gutted about that. So there you go. That's to me the transfer window summed up in one. Plymouth Argyle beaten to the signing by Man United.
Now, of course, probably the biggest move of the night was Juan Cuadrado from Fiorentina to Chelsea for 23.3 million. That's of course going to strengthen Chelsea's side.
I think it is. I think they needed someone like that who's attacking but also skillful. And I think we were saying earlier that it's going to give the team a bit more of competition on the bench, whereas other teams like obviously City, you've got so many people just lying there earning the cash.
Chelsea don't need anyone.
Exactly.
Chelsea 20. That was a signing that they made because if they didn't, someone else would. And that's Jose Mourinho going, if I can't have him, then no one can. You know, so I'll have him, and then no one else can. But he's going to. When you say that a team needs him to provide competition for the rest of the team, you know that it wasn't really a vital signing.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I've never been a fan of the way Chelsea do their business. I think they buy and then they loan just so that they can have all the talent. I think it's a bit greedy. Good business, but not great football.
Yeah, and of course they lost Andre Schürrle to Wolfsburg for 22 million. Now, I'm a big fan of Schürrle, so I was quite surprised, but then again, as we say, they've got so much depth in numbers, then they don't really need him, do they?
I think the one thing that Mourinho was looking at is that Cuadrado, off the ball, he will chase back. Schürrle was quite lazy. He always grabbed you a goal. He was a very good option to have on the bench, but he was never one to do the defensive side of the game.
Yeah. Now, obviously, during the transfer window, most expensive player was Wilfried Boney to Manchester City for 23.3 million. Now, is Boney worth that much?
No. That's Swansea going, you need this guy, so we're going to charge you this much. I think if it was in the summer, it would have cost a lot less. But Swansea knew, it's very, very smart from Swansea, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just Swansea knew that Boney was the striker that City wanted and needed as an injury replacement, and said, if you want him, you're going to have to pay us this much.
Yeah. Now, something I do want to pick up on is Harry Kane. Now, Tottenham managed to keep hold of him, and he did even extend his contract to 2020. Do you think that just means that in a few years' time, if he keeps up his form, that just means he's going to go for a big sum of money, Niamh?
I do think that's right, because I don't think contracts mean anything now in football. It's just a number for someone to put their name against. So I do think it's sort of building up his reputation to be a bigger and better signing later on.
Yeah, there wasn't really any danger of him leaving Tottenham anyway. He's in the form of his life. There's no real reason for him to leave. And his new contract, he's been the best English striker this season.
He definitely has. Now, obviously, Tottenham did lose Aaron Lennon to Everton, and there's pictures this morning of him looking not exactly...
He looked delighted.
He really did, didn't he? But I feel like it's a good move for Lennon, because he hasn't been getting week in, week out playing time, so surely it's going to help his career.
Good move for Everton as well. I think he'll suit Everton. But he definitely needed that from Tottenham. I think it's just a loan, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And he, amazingly, I found out last night he's only 27. I mean, he's been in 2 World Cups and he's still so young. Like, do you think that if he was getting week in, week out playing time, if his form was to return, do you think he'd be on the fringes of the England squad again?
Easily.
I think so, yeah. I mean, at 27, he should really be at the peak of his career, but he's just been stumbling the past 2 seasons, so I think this will reignite his career, and I think he can get back into the England squad because he's an out-and-out winger, and that's something we don't really have too many of.
Now, we will be discussing the England squads later on in the show. Obviously, it's a very touchy subject because we are not the best at the moment, but I want to ask a quick question. Does anybody know who was the busiest club in the January transfer window?
Well, Swansea, I think.
Of all the football leagues.
On all tiers.
I think Blackpool were pretty busy as well.
Not Blackpool.
Not Blackpool.
Crawley Town.
Crawley
Town signed 9 players
Town.
during the January transfer window. I mean, there's not much more to really say about that, but it's quite an interesting fact.
Crawley shelling out the cash then.
Yeah. And the Yak is back in English football. He signed for Reading, and West Brom were kept busy. They managed to snap up both Carlton Cole and Darren Fletcher, and they've been struggling this season. So that's hopefully going to bring them back to the way they should be playing football.
I'm glad Fletcher went to West Brom. I'm a United fan, and I think I've always loved Darren Fletcher. You know, not so much because he's just a brilliant player, but just because he's a loyal guy, and you know he played for United for years. He was all right. We kept him during that massive injury phase that he had, and he just should be playing football. He's a good midfielder. You know, people overlook that, and I think it's good that he's at West Brom now. Yeah.
Now, Adebayor, there was speculation of him moving elsewhere, but Tottenham managed to keep hold of him. Their chairman, Daniel Levy, refused West Ham's bid for him. Do you think that's a good move? Do you think he should have gone, or do you think Tottenham is his home?
I think Adebayor always performs well at a new club. He does well for about 6 months. He'll work hard, he'll chase back, he'll do everything, and then as soon as he gets into his comfort zone, he just slacks off and goes very quiet, and you wonder, like, at the end of his career what he's going to think, because he's got everything. He's unplayable on his day, and for some reason he just doesn't do enough.
Obviously Tottenham's main man right now is Harry Kane. I think they've kept Adebayor only because if they didn't, they're 1 injury away from playing Soldado. So that's probably why. It's rather than sign a replacement striker and go through the extra business of signing a replacement striker, getting rid of Adebayor, just cut out the middleman, keep him until summer, until you can have that extended time to get a replacement striker in, someone who will provide competition for Harry Kane, and then I reckon Adebayor will go in the summer.